Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Cedella.
Hi.
So first of all, let me welcome everybody to our Friday night Source Booksellers conversations with authors. And tonight we have quite a treat. We have the presence of Cedella Marley, who is an author and has written a number of books so far, but the one that we're focusing on tonight is Redemption. Let me just say to the audience that we are primarily a nonfiction bookstore in Midtown Detroit. We've been selling books for over 30 years now. And our focus is on history and culture, health and well-being, books by and about women and metaphysical, spiritual, new age. And I do think that this book covers at least 3 of our categories: history, culture, by and about women, and spirituality in a great sense. So we're really happy to be able to bring the author Cedella Marley to you this evening.
And an extra introduction, Miss Marley is an award-winning recording artist, an author, a fashion designer, and she is the CEO of Tough Gong International, a record label founded by her parents, Bob and Rita Marley, and the director of the Bob Marley Foundation.
So we are pleased to have you with us, Cedella. Thank you so much for agreeing to be with us and to come and bring your wonderful work. We have a copy of the book here. I see you have one up, but in case others can't see it, there it is. And of course, we are welcoming people to buy the book either on our online site, call us, or however you want to reach us. So, shall we start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we want to know first, what inspired you to create Redemption, which is the title of the book?
Well, this year marks Daddy's 75th Earth Strong, as we love to call it in our own lingo. But it's also the 40th anniversary of the original release of Redemption Song. So this was my way of honoring his life with a project based on, I want to say it's one of his most enduring songs. And I wanted to bring that message to you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, happy 75th, Dad.
Right. Great. What makes the Redemption Song timeless? I mean, I could ask you why does it, but what do you think makes it timeless? Because it's traversed all these years and is so current now.
Yeah. You know, and now it's even more timely because this song, it calls out the systematic oppression, and it also, it's giving us a message of how we can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's a song about conflict and despair. It feels like he wrote that song yesterday when you look at what's happening in our world right now. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, Daddy is always timely in his music and his lyrics and his words. And yeah, Redemption Song is that song.
I often think about the idea, it's not my idea, but that these kinds of songs, and particularly your father's song, is both universal and local at the same time.
Yes.
And I think that's really true today. What do you think resonates? What about the song do you think resonates so much with people after these years? Not only is it timeless, but what comes out of people from your experience when they address this song?
Well, I mean, redemption is a universal theme of, I want to call it the human experience. Mm-hmm. And at some point, we all find ourselves in need of some level of redemption, you know, whether it's physically, emotionally, or spiritually. And that's a truth that none of us can actually change. Mm-hmm. You know, it is a human experience song. The words of Marcus Garvey is very much in there. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. And so when you think about Marcus Garvey and how Daddy took those words and made it into this timeless piece. It's genius. And I think it's a combination of two geniuses coming together, Garvey and Marley. And that's what Redemption Song is really all about.
Yes. I just want to interject here. I love hearing you say daddy. That's so sweet and so intimate, and it makes him so alive at this time. But I love hearing you say that, and I hope the audience enjoys it as much as I. Just hearing you say that is, there's so much love and intentionality there. So thank you for doing it. I had to just stick that in for just a minute. How do you define redemption?
Well, I mean, there are many definitions of redemption, and I talk about 3 of them in the book. The definition that can help us to create the new world, my dad really thought we were entering when he actually wrote the song. Redemption Song is all about we have to reform, or how we can change things for the better. And this type of redemption expresses hope and longing for reconciliation within ourselves and as a part of our community. That's what it really means to me.
And in this time, we are hungry for that.
Yeah.
In such need of it, because we see so much opposition to those words that you spoke. Just as a personal note, at one time was a speech and language teacher, they called us in the schools. And I'm just so sensitive to words and what words mean and what they convey. And I think in this time period, as the words you were saying, we just need words that will speak to the need of the human person for redemption, for love, for caring, for understanding. And yet we have this big energy that's going on in our lives now that just seems to want those words not to be said. So I think it really invigorates our knowledge of those words and our understanding, and hopefully our use of them and practice of them too. Okay, so this is what I want to ask you. The beautiful quotes in the book, where did they come from? How did you find them? I know you must have had to dig around, or just tell us some more about how you got these beautiful quotes that are in the book.
From time to time, different people would send me whether it's recordings or written words from my dad. And I just had really, I want to call it like, it was just this old box of cassettes, not CDs, not DVDs, but cassettes.
I got it.
my youngster, he doesn't know what that is. Like, he doesn't know what a Walkman is. He doesn't know any of these things. But so I got to that box and I went through it, and I had to listen. And I have a great friend called Joel Houseman, who actually helps me when it comes out to any of my book projects. He's just a genius when it comes out to taking things out of my head and putting it, on paper. And with these lyrics, we went through, and I picked stuff that resonated with myself and stuff that I thought would resonate with others. And those are his words. And we did not try to change that at all. So what you see is what you get. What you see is what he said. And I'm just happy that I could bring it to you.
So your work was really archival. You were going deep in the archives.
And the teacher in you with those big words, archival.
And finding these things and uncovering the spirit and the energy of the words. That's really a gift. And as I looked through the book, I thought, wow, this is, not only is it beautiful, but what's inside of the book in terms of the quotes are really, really beautiful. Now, I want to say too, this isn't your first book. And we want to let you know that during the holiday season last end of November, December, you were part of a package of books that we had with the little girl with the braids. The One Love book. And so we were thinking at that time that these words were in that book at that time was very helpful for children, and that and now with the book Redemption, while it's not a children's book, but all ages can really benefit from that book. But the little book One Love was just a joy, and we loved selling it and hand selling it and talking about you who we didn't know at the time, but now we do. So now we can say even more about it. Okay. Go ahead. So, so say a little bit about your other books that you've read. I had to stick my words in there first about the One Love book.
Well, I mean, I approach each book the same way. You know, I listen for how the song speaks to me, and then I work from there to frame it in a way that will connect with others, whether it be a baby or it be, you know, myself or yourself. So we cover all age ranges when it comes on to Daddy's songs and lyrics. And he's just so brilliant in the way that he wrote, that I sometimes when I sit down and I'm figuring it out, I go, wait, so now we're in 2020 and Daddy he's written some stuff that it feels like he's saying it to me like today, you know, not 40 years ago, but today. And I think that's a part of his humility and brilliance at the same time.
Beautiful. And the gift is that you're able to discern the work and then piece it together in different ways for different ages. It's making me want to make sure we have all of your books as we move toward the holiday season this year. That we don't know quite how it's going to be, but I think it would be another great, we're talking about having bundles of in the store that people can buy, since we're not doing a lot of in-store activities, and to have a bundle that would include maybe the Marley family. We have a cookbook in the store, the coffee cookbook that Rohan and Marcel put together. He's here in Detroit now. And yeah, so we've done a little bit with him as well. So I think we're inching our way into the Marley family.
Welcome.
Okay. Allison, what was the next one? Oh, we want to speak a word about, this book was conceived prior to the advent of COVID. How has that impacted the ideas of the book, and also how you have been able to talk about the book during this time with the pandemic underway?
Well, I mean, you know, technology has been our best friend.
Yes.
And what I really want to say is that with this whole pandemic and everything that's happening in our world, we all have a responsibility to this planet and the living things that we share with it. The people, the plants. I'm a big gardener. You know, we're all interconnected, and we impact each other, and we really can't hide from that. So until we are all free, none of us are free.
None of us are, that's true.
And you know, each person must first do the work. We have to all do the work to emancipate ourselves from that mentality. Right. I had the pleasure of speaking to Dr. Julius Garvey, Marcus Garvey's son, yesterday. Yeah. And we were just talking about Redemption Song and his father's legacy and how interconnected, you know, Daddy never met Marcus Garvey, but his words spoke to him, spoke to his spirit. And for that connection to bring about this redemption, it's, the spirits are alive, you know? And we just have to be grateful that some who came before us actually paved the way. And sometimes we have to follow in footsteps.
Yes.
You know, not try and step to the side of it or step behind it, but just
follow.
Right on top of it. Yeah. And I think it's that time now.
It is, and
Yes.
and the impact and the pressure of the pandemic has given us a given all of us a chance to, if we would use it, to
Yeah.
pause, to
Yeah.
think about it, to become more. To do. When I was growing up, you see, I'm an older adult, as my daughter calls me. With the grown-ups would say to us as children, "Sit down now and be still." So they would use that term, be still. Just and even today I can understand it so much better, that stillness is not working on your phone and sitting somewhere by yourself, but it's stillness, stilling your whole body, your mind, your spirit, everything, just to
Yeah.
be still. And this shutdown that we've all experienced around the world is really an opportunity for us to be still, and
Yes.
then to take on the beautiful words and understandings of your dad. So I think it's quite a time that we're offered, even though it's sad and fearful and tragic. It's quite a gift in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we have some little things here. Do you think that there are solutions to make the world a better place? Now, we've talked about redemption, but some people say getting in the weeds is really hard, figuring out really what to do. And yes, redemption, and yes, love, and yes, one world. But any ideas of what do we do?
Yeah. You know, in the book, I write about how redemption is really a roadmap
Mm-hmm.
for us to identify world problems and solutions. You know, it's easy for everybody to point out the problems, and it seems very hard for us to point out the solutions.
Yes.
And you know, Daddy said it perfectly. To enact change, you must open your eyes and look within, because as simple as it seems, it actually starts right there. It starts right there with us, with you, with me, with your daughter that's sitting right beside you. You know,
I tell people she's my mother.
and you know, many times.
She tells me exactly what to do most of the time, but then sometimes I resist. So,
but that's how life is, you know. You know, once a man and twice a child.
yeah. I accept it all.
Enjoy your teenage years.
Yes. Right. I'm going to give it to her. Right. Okay. Have you thought about, or is it well for us to think about, how would your dad have responded to the world today as we see it? I know that he has so many quotes and good different things, but how do you think he would respond to the world today?
You know, Daddy have this song, So Much Trouble in the World. So it seems we found this, oh my gosh, now the lyrics are blanking on me. But it's just, so it seems we found the solution, but it's just another illusion. So before we check out this tide, don't leave another cornerstone standing there behind. And I can go on and on and on. But Daddy was very solution oriented. So just like how we see our brothers and sisters marching and using their voice to become a voice of change, he would be that person on the forefront. Yeah, and it's just, we can't change what's happening in the world right now. And just like how I think you're disappointed in what's happening in this world right now, because you've probably seen some stuff that we have not seen, and you thought that was all over, but you see it happening again. And so it's disappointing that we're taking steps backward, you know? But he would be a solution person. And so we have to use our voices, you know, and show unity, because there's a lot of noise out there.
Yeah.
That's trying to, yes, there's a lot of noise. And if we don't open our ears and listen, we can miss the solutions that are actually, it's right in front of our faces. So Daddy would be the one to try and find the solution. But he would also be disappointed that there's still so much trouble in the world.
I heard someone say, I want to say it was when John Lewis passed away, there was a lot being said, but somebody said, and I can't quite remember who, and it was probably said by more than one person, that every generation has to confront these issues and find their way through to solutions for the time. So I'm always interested in hearing what younger people are experiencing, because I say to my older friends, it's not the same as what we've experienced. It has some of the same qualities, but they're experiencing things because of what has come forth in their lives. And so I'm glad in a lot of ways that this time period has caused us to have to think deeply and to act in new and different ways and use some of the old tools that were used at one time. I heard a person on the radio today who is a journalist who is incarcerated, and he writes for one of the magazines. And I thought, wow, that I don't know why he's in jail or in prison. He's not even in jail, he's in prison. I don't know why of all that, but he identified himself as a journalist and he writes for these magazines. So it never occurred to me that that was even going on. And I know about Mumia being in prison, but I didn't know that there were others as well who we could actually hear from today. So I thought that was, the writing and the speaking is very important.
It is.
Good. Okay, so how do you think the family, your family, instilled the importance of caring and continuing on your father's legacy? How did that happen?
Well, you know, Rita Marley, the lioness of this family. Without her, none of this is possible. So I have to, 2020, not only has it been a year celebrating Dad's 75th Earth Strong, but we could not have done this without the lioness guiding us every step of the way. And you know, we do different activations to honor his legacy. Like right now we have a legacy web documentary series actually, where we release new episodes each month highlighting different aspects of Daddy's life. Yeah, but I just thought of my mom, because sometimes, you know, we get so caught up in everything Bob that we can easily forget, you know, the woman that stood with him, beside him, you know, and in front of him at times. So Mommy, if you're watching, I love you.
So it's that woman's hand that's behind the,
of course,
and sometimes in front of it. And sometimes in front of it, behind the scene, and sometimes in front,
in front of it. Yes, in front of it. Yes, in front of it. She's the one that got the bullet to the head, so she was in front.
Yeah. Yes. Right. I love hearing you say Bob too, and I saw this on the paper. I thought, I don't know if I could call him Bob, but you did, so it's good. The music and the words and the literature that have come from your family is just outstanding. What do you have in mind now? What you gonna do?
Well, you know, I'm thinking about a little girl named Marley. She creates mischief and mayhem everywhere she goes, but it's all lovingly done. So I'm thinking about her and how we can cause some good trouble.
Good trouble. John Lewis, yes. The little girl Marley, I love that idea.
Marley's gonna start some good trouble.
Good trouble, that's right.
Hi, we have 2 questions, and I wonder if we can ask you. They're from attendees.
Okay.
One is hailing from New Zealand.
Oh.
So that makes me feel like we need to say.
Yes. What's happening in New Zealand now?
Her name is Kaya Ora. She's from New Zealand. She's just wondering if there is if there's any personal poetry in your book, or is it just words and messages just from your father?
No, you know, this book was illustrated by another good friend of mine, Mariah Fox. So it's all hand-drawn illustration in here done by Mariah. And yeah, one of my nephews actually believe it's a coloring book because he's only 4. I was like, all right, I'll take that. So yeah. No, we have great illustrations in here by Mariah Fox, and that makes it even more special.
Mm-hmm. So I have to correct myself. So Natasha, who's also called Tosh, is asking the question for Kia.
From New Zealand.
From New Zealand.
Okay.
Hello, New Zealand. It must be tomorrow. It
must
be.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And our last question from an attendee is from Georgette. And she asks, Mrs. Marley, which quote from the book best informs your life as your life's mantra?
Well, okay, I'm not Mrs. Marley.
Okay. I'm just reading her words.
I know, you know, sometimes I say to people when they go, Mrs. Marley, like, I'm not married to my brothers. No. No. You know, but to be, it's simple, you know, emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. I think right now that those are the words that really stick in my head. When you look at world situations, how did we get here? Why are we still here? Why? What happened? You know, what happened? Like your mom said, you know, generations we all have to go through. I just didn't think that I would be in a world where if my sons are leaving this house, I'm scared. I'm telling them how to act and how to react and how to not act.
Yes.
And it's a different time, you know, but we cannot let fear overcome us because that's always been the aim, you know. Once we have them fearful, then we have control. No.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No more mind control for us.
That's right. Yes. All right. Well, one last thing, and we're going to begin to wrap up. What do you think is the greatest legacy, aside from the music and the message of love, that your father left his children?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what could be greater than that he did leave us, you know? Because through his music, he has shared so many values with us and has instilled in us. And because of Mommy, we never forget those values. So I could not ask for more because I think he's given us his all.
Your family get it, but we in the world have been so benefited by the music and the words of love. They just really resonate. This is another little tidbit I have to tell. Both of my daughters went to Spelman College, and so I spent a lot of time driving from Detroit to Atlanta, and we would play. What was the record? It was
Legend.
Yeah, I think so. And when he talks about the prophet. And for so long, I had to get my ears tuned up to know what that was saying. But we, I think, went through a lot of the tapes, like in the tape machine in the car. We went through a lot, but we played that music over and over again. And I think it must have really instilled some passion in all of us. First, my oldest daughter, and then my youngest daughter. This one came along. And so we have been fans of the Bob Marley music for a long time. And I love the fact that it's being looked at again now in this generation and taking on new life for another generation of people and children. So I feel extremely grateful for the work of your dad, and of course the whole movement of people around the world who have attributed their successes to his words and his music. So thank you very much for doing this wonderful book. And we're going to have fun selling it in the store. I think that Allison's going to tell about the YouTube.
Oh, so just to let everyone know that on our website, Source Booksellers Online, the book is still available. Thank you to everyone that bought a book ticket to this event. And we're just going to keep celebrating with you for the whole year, including the holiday season. And I want to say thank you too for the Get Up, Stand Up book.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because we have so many, even daily protests here in Detroit. And that book really helps families, not just children, understand why there are people in the street, why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. I love your mom.
We have a lot of fun. We have a good time. Right. Yeah. So thank you.
I'm taking it right now. Detroit, here I come.
That's right. That's right. As soon as they open the locks and let us out, we're happening. So just with the last little few minutes, did we miss anything? And do you want to say anything in the as a wrap up that we haven't addressed?
No, I mean, I really want to say thank you for having me. You know, I feel blessed that whenever I have these type of interactions, I come away with something that I've taken from you. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all. This is
yeah. And so I want to thank you for giving me your time also.
Well, we're really dedicated to really using this time of the COVID-19 pandemic to continue to bring to our community, to our customers, and now to our wide reach of people, the best that we can find. And you are certainly way up in that category of the best, because you're covering so much of what we try to present in the store. And as I said, one of our major categories are books by and about women. And we chose that years ago, as we've been in business over 30 years, because I felt that there was lack of books that are dedicated to the writings of women and to the ideas of women. And I love the fact that we're turning around now more and more and bringing the voice of women to the foreground. I was hearing a piece on public television last night about Lucretia Mott, who was a suffragette, and she was a Quaker, and she was an activist, and she stood out front. She didn't take no for an answer. And we hardly hear of those voices that I heard. I'd known of that name, but I didn't know much about her. But she was a very intense activist in the early 1800s. I think she was born late 1700s and early 1800s, and really preceded some of the names that we know that are associated with suffragettes now. But Lucretia Mott, she took her Quaker background seriously and was constantly on the lines for abolition and for suffragette too. So these women's voices are coming more and more to the foreground in a lot of different ways. And it's so needed in the world where we've had too much war and too much mental enslavement. So I thank you again for being here and for being a part of our Friday night date night. That's what we call it. Friday night date night. Virtually.
Virtual.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When you hear the gates to Detroit are open, come on.
We'll have it anytime.
It's gonna happen in a year or two. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.